2.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Councilman Britt Moore at City Hall calling to order our Thursday, May 30th, 2024 meeting of our Finance Committee. All members are present, Councilman Andrew, Councilman Holmes, and Councilwoman Peters. And we will jump right into our presentation of items. The first item is 2024-201. And I'm showing we're going to hear from Police Chief Curtis Cheeks. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. The first item, first item asking council to consider is a Leica microscope system. We'd use it for our ballistics firearms examiner and our firearms program. It's a pretty high-tech microscope that allows us basically to see images and grooves and tool marks on projectiles and shell casings for comparison purposes. We would use general budgeted funds, and it's a cost of $83,810, and that includes the microscope, software, the camera that goes with it, on the ground training, that whole nine. So,
Is there any discussion or comments on this?
No, just, this is Councilman Holmes. Just a quick question. How much frequency of use does an item like this get? Like, how often do you employ this type of a?
so just to give you an example, last year we seized over 500 crime guns. Every single firearm that comes through our agency, we do a full examination on. So there's 500 examples there. And then every shell casing we collect, we also do an examination on because it helps with identification and prosecution. So
Yeah.
it'd be used quite frequently.
So have you seen, well, I guess with the amount of, guns on the street, you've seen that need go up for this type of a piece of equipment?
Yes, right now we're currently depending on our neighboring agencies, which means we take our evidence and drive over to another agency to be able to perform this function.
Yeah, that's inefficient. Okay.
Yeah, this is something that we have talked about as the role of police has increased, unfortunately, over the years. We're thankful for each and every one of you, and I think that, we've been talking about trying to gather this type of ability for a lot of years. So, again, we appreciate all you do, and I think this will be very helpful for your operations. So I'll make a motion to approve, if there's nothing else, item 2024-201.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2024-213.
All right, on this item, requesting approval for a declared surplus on one of our police canines. Lumen is her official name. We call her Lumi, but basically she's developed severe anxiety and is no longer able to work in the capacity we need her to. In these situations, oftentimes the handler requests to purchase the animal and assume care, custody, control, and expenses. That's the same in this case, so that she'd be sold to the handler, and they would take care of her from here.
Comments or questions? I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-213.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Chief. Next, we'll hear from Public Service Director Robbie Stone. First item is 2024-207.
Thank you. This is for a task order with CDM Smith for professional engineering services to evaluate our Inslee Creek sanitary sewer outfall. This system was put in or constructed in 1958. It is about 28,000 feet long, and there's 17 aerial sections along this section. This does empty out into our west side wastewater treatment plant, so it's on the southern part of the city here. This phase one of the evaluation will consist of inspecting the structural, visually and structurally inspection of the aerial sewers and their supports, TVing those aerial sewer sections, and determining the appropriate size for replacement if we need to, as we need to replace those. There will be a final report of one of the evaluation and recommendation for the project. Phase 2, which will follow this, would actually consist of a preliminary engineering report. We just have some additional preliminary steps we need to take before that, and that's what this Phase 1 task order is here. Funds are available for this project, and Public Services is recommending to approve this to CDM Smith in the amount of $115,000.
Robbie, how often is this done, or when is the last time this area was looked at?
I don't have a record of when the last time it was looked at, so.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yes, sir.
Would it be prudent upon this passing that we look at a scheduled maintenance, or are we waiting for symptoms?
Yes, we would like to be more proactive and have scheduled maintenance and scheduled evaluations on all of our
And in your
sewers.
professional opinion, how often would that be?
Sewer lines typically will last, I would say, 60 to 80 years. But we have many that are already exceeding that life cycle right now.
Councilman Andrew, there was some information, a package on the sewer connecting to Trinity. Our sewer goes, how does that work with the city of Trinity?
We have an agreement with
Okay.
Trinity, and so we will receive their sewer. I
We're
don't think we've
receiving this,
actually
okay.
received their sewer yet, but we had an agreement that was put in place so that we can receive their sewer.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no further comments, I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-207.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2024-208.
This is for a selection of 5 supervisory control and data acquisition systems, or SCADA, and integration support firms to provide support and services to the city of High Point through a 5-year master agreement for professional services. We received these and opened these on April 26, 2024, and looking for those qualified firms. I believe there's primary divisions in public services we use. These are our water plants and our sewer treatment plants. Also our recycling plant, but it's also open for other departments throughout the city to utilize as well. Each consultant will be engaged and a scope and fees and work fees negotiated through a task order if they are utilized. We received 8 firms that submitted. 5 of those were selected. Those 5 are CITI, Revere Control Systems, Piedmont Automations, Lord and Company, and DSI Innovations. There are no current budget impacts to this, as those funds will be budgeted and allocated at the time a task order is presented. So we're recommending that council approve these master agreements for the SCADA design and integration systems with CITI, Revere Control Systems, Piedmont Automations, Lord and Company, and DSI.
Question, so we need 5 of these systems. We're authorizing these 5 firms to come up with the design work, and then we're going to pick one from there?
No, sir. So as we have issues at our various locations, we can reach out to one of these 5 and say, hey, we're having issue XYZ. Can you provide us a proposal to help us repair this or make these repairs?
Okay, that's clearer to me. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So Robbie, all of these are potential providers, right? Or
Yes.
we're going to settle on a single provider and.
No, the
and-
five are
5.
potential providers, very similar to what we did with our engineering
Exactly.
master agreement. Yes, sir.
So if one doesn't have the capacity, we can reach out to another one of these.
Correct. One may
together.
not have a capacity,
Yeah.
one may have a little more expertise
Sure.
than another in this certain area too.
Yeah, makes sense. A little bit of specialization. could
Correct.
Potentially happen. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-208.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2024-209.
Okay, so this is for a sole source request for pavement technology to apply Reclamite Asphalt Rejuvenator to about just over 661,000 square yards, which equates to about 94 lane miles of roads throughout the city. Pavement Technology, we utilized them last year, but they're a sole source applicator and supplier of Reclamite Asphalt Rejuvenator. Reclamite is a maltine-based emulsions product, which basically helps rejuvenate the asphalt that's in place. You want to utilize this on asphalt that's 1 to 4 years old, and it will help basically prolong the life of that asphalt. Funds are available for this in our current budget, and Public Services recommends approval of this sole source request with Pavement Technology, Inc. in the amount of $793,351.20.
Robbie, we have, I lose track of time, may have been a year or so ago now, we looked at something similar to this or exactly like this, and I know it went out in like Blairwood on the asphalt up there.
Yes.
How do we, as you're out doing your work, do you see that it being beneficial to what it's supposed to do?
This product's been in use for a number of years. Several other cities have utilized it, and there's been a lot of studies whether it's proved very beneficial. Just being 1 year out, we can't really provide metrics on those results. However, I feel we've had very good timing in that this year we also conducted our pavement evaluation study. So that looks at all of our streets and gives them a rating. As when we do that every 3 years. So by the time we do this group and then we come back around to that pavement evaluation study, I hope to start seeing some gains in our overall pavement condition rating. Not only through this, but in addition to our resurfacing, but we also have the other seal technology that we're utilizing as well.
Anything else? Hearing none, I will propose, I've lost my track here. I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-209.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item, 2024-210.
So this is to approve a task order with Tetra Tech for professional engineering services to perform a phase 3 of our integrated watershed assessment framework for our water supply protection. The city has a master agreement for professional services with this firm. We as a city are responsible to the citizens and businesses for managing water quantity and quality while maintaining compliance with the state and federal regulations. I mentioned this would be phase 3. So we had phase 1 back in July of 2020. Phase 2 was in April of 21. But phase 3, we're going to take the next step will involve the application and maintenance of this integrated watershed assessment framework, where we'll work with Tetra Tech to apply the watershed, lake, stormwater, and flood assessment models, and incorporate that with our city planning and operations. And so also what they're going to do is look at the 2045 comprehensive plan of how we're projecting to grow, and how can we, with that growth, how can we protect our water supplies and our lakes with that growth? And if we need to look at, from this, if we need to look at any ordinances or other things to help protect that water supply, this will help us have a better understanding of that as the city grows. Funds are available for this project, and we are recommending approval to Tetra Tech in the amount of $150,000 for this phase 3 of this project.
Councilman Andrew, this is a not to exceed for 150, so if there's language on it going higher, because I noticed that there's other direct costs, travel, cost plus on that contract, then it'd come back to us for any potential increase, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Anything else? I'll make a motion for approval of item 2024-210.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Robbie. Next, we'll hear from Electric Utilities Director Tyler Barrier on a few items, and he'll start with 2024-211.
Good afternoon. The first item I have is the ability to procure 2 3-phase meter site analyzers. These are for our metering division. Currently, we have 2 service vans that we send out to do meter testing. After our AMI deployment, Electric will be performing a lot of QA, QC testing on installations and existing meter sites. These units are sole source because they will integrate with our current meter test units, or WECO boards that are in our metering lab. So we won't have to do any kind of software integration between a third-party testing unit. These units can analyze a metering site, power quality issues, test the meter, transformer testing without ever removing the meter. So no interruption to a customer service. And the electric department is seeking the ability to procure these items via sole source.
Any comments on this? I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-211.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next is 2024-212.
So this is the ability to procure some transformers. This is just a regular warehouse stock order. There are actually 67 total units being encumbered under this quote. Typically, we're just buying one size, various, this is a various size. We're going all the way from our smallest unit, which is a 25, up to our largest, which is a 2,000 kVA. On the itemized sheet, there's 40 of these units are smaller, pole-mounted, and the other 27 units are larger pad mount units. No particular project that these are going towards, just regular warehouse stock.
Councilman Andrew, on my package, page 2 of this has the meter site analyzers, although page 1 has the quote for the transformer, so it's just a minor error.
Sorry about that.
We'll get that corrected. We're good to move forward, and we can make that correction later. Correct. All right. If there's no further comments, I will make a motion to approve item 2024-212.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item, 2024-222.
So this is a bid that we put out for crane and rigging services. The city will enter into a contract with a crane provider so that basically it's just a tool for our tool belt. We're not actually encumbering any dollars. We'll put this out and lock in prices on various size crane units. And there's provisions in the contract that they have to respond within a number of hours in case we have emergencies where we have a unit that goes out and it's only accessible via a crane. They've also helped us before on a weekend if we had a transmission pole hit or something, we had to have them come in and help us set that pole because it may be a 120-foot pole and we don't have the ability to do that ourselves. So this is to enter into a contract with Guy M. Turner. Staff is requesting the city council approve and be able to execute this contract. And again, we're not encumbering any dollars here, we're just locking in unit prices.
And this was done on a bid basis?
Yes.
If there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-222.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, sir. Have a good afternoon. Next, Customer Service Director Jeremy Coble will speak to item 2024-215.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The purpose of this item is to procure a meter installation vendor, or MIV, for the AMI project. As many of you are aware, we are going through a strategic upgrade to our utility service and implementing AMI. Allegiant has been chosen to replace all of the city's electric meters, upholding both the standards and safety that the electric department currently uses and has approved. Funding is available in the Electric Capital Fund. Staff is recommending that City Council approve the award to Allegiant for $1,009,800.84. I will say this went out for bid, and while this was not the only deciding factor, Allegiant was the lowest bidder of the 6 that we received.
Good that those two could come together. Any comments, questions? I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-215.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next, Financial Service Director Bobby Fitzjohn will speak to us concerning item 2024-216.
And I will fill in for Mr. Fitzjohn today. Good afternoon. Thank you. The item before you is to authorize the Forsyth County Tax Administration and collection for the 2024 taxes and collection of the 2023 and prior years' taxes. As you may know, we are in 4 counties. We contract with all 4 of those counties to collect and administer and collect the taxes for the properties within those individual counties. Forsyth County requests that we have City Council authorize this agreement on an annual basis. So of the 4, we only bring Forsyth County to you on an annual basis. So we're asking you to authorize and appropriate the correct city official to execute the attached orders for the collection of 2024 taxes and for the collection of 2023 and prior years' taxes by the Forsyth County Tax Administration Office.
Comments or questions?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-216.
Second?
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Next is Kevin Rogers, our Fleet Director, and item 2024-218.
Good afternoon, thank you. Fleet Service has been working for several years with outside vendors to provide the city with emergency vehicle equipment and installation services for patrol units in the police department. Since our department recently has staff to perform the installation process, we need to have the parts ordered. Now for our new units will be arriving in mid-2024. These parts are for city-owned vehicles and equipment, and with the assistance of the purchasing division, a bid was advertised to assure that the best value was acquired by the city. West Chatham was the lowest responsive bidder for these services. Total cost of equipment is $126,795. Funds are available in the 23-24 budget. Fleet Services Department recommends that the City Council approve the purchase of purchased equipment from West Chatham Emergency Equipment in the amount of $126,795 and authorize appropriate city staff to execute all necessary documents.
Councilman Andrew, the purchase price, will there be further costs incurred on installing them?
No, we actually have an in-house personnel now that would be performing that. And this is for 15 units. And to give you an example, before we had this, we were spending about $19,000 per unit. So our cost before our in-house personnel was around $312,000 for the same amount of vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Question? Anything else? I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-218.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Stephen Harlick, our Budget and Performance Director, on item 2024-219.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. This item is requesting an appropriation of federal grant dollars for mass transit. Annually, we receive grants from the state and federal governments. Last year, an additional $408,033 in federal funds were awarded compared to our initial budget estimates. This particular federal grant is the Federal Transit Administration's Section 5307 grant, and those funds can be used for operating, preventative maintenance, or routine capital expenses. These particular funds will be utilized for parking lot repairs as well as a paratransit scheduling and dispatching software. There's no local budget impact. These are 100% federal funds, and Budget and Evaluation recommend approval.
Any comments?
Any time frame on expensing these, or these?
There's some flexibility. Some of these have accumulated over a couple years, and so it's not just you have to do it within 1 year.
Okay.
I can get you that exact time.
Yeah, I just know sometimes some of these federal funds have kind of time lapses on them and when they have to be expensed, and so I didn't know if this fell into that category.
All right, so, good afternoon. We're amending the current year's budget with these funds.
Yes.
All right, so we won't see it in the budget that we're dealing with right now.
Correct.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-219.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Greg Venable, our Transportation Director, on item 2024-220.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is to approve a license agreement between the North Carolina Railroad and the City of High Point. The NCRR and the city have an agreement that's been in place since April 30th, 1998, which provides the city use of the property to maintain the High Point Depot for Amtrak passenger rail service. This is currently a one-year, there's currently a one-year extension in place. The previous agreement expired on April 30th, 2023. This license shall continue in effect until the city's rights are terminated by either party upon 365 days written notice to the other party. NCR may terminate this license immediately upon a determination that the city's activities are an immediate hazard to railroad operations in the rail corridor, or upon breach of this license. The city will pay NCRR an annual fee of $3,000. The annual fee will increase each year by 3%. The city shall also pay a late payment charge of 1% or $25 per month, whichever is greater for each month the payment is late. The budget impact of the $3,000, which was just mentioned for the first year, is accounted for in the current Transportation Department's budget. The increase of 3% each year will be included in future year budgets for the Transportation Department. Staff recommends City Council approve the license agreement between NCRR and the city and to allow appropriate city staff to sign all appropriate documents. Be glad to answer any questions.
Have we ever paid a late fee?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else on that item, I'll make a motion to approve item 2024-220.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have one more item that we've been asked to add to the agenda. There's no action to be taken on it, is my understanding, but for information going forward, and we're going to hear from Deputy City Manager Greg Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's an item that'll come to the City Council on Monday, and it's planned to come under consent. I want to give you a briefing on it because it came to the Finance Committee on November 2nd, 2023. And it came as a package purchase of 10 properties that the city owns by Sterling Properties, who is affiliated with Pinnacle Financial Services. The 10 properties were offered or were bid for $110,000, which is $11,000 each per property. One of the properties at 516 White Oak Street, between the Finance Committee meeting and the City Council meeting, was recognized as having a lease to Growing High Point that burns off in June of this year. So what this item is simply doing is it was delayed from that time point up until June, and once that's clear, then it's proposed to be sold by upset bid process. So this is a standard upset bid process. It doesn't need to go back through finance again because it's already been through. So we just provided a copy of that original document that showed, kind of where that went originally, and it should be on consent for Monday.
Okay.
Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
We will look for it then, and I don't foresee any problem. This is part of that Pinnacle Sterling relationship the city's had, and they take properties that are in need, in an area that's in need, and do much needed work. So we will look for that then. That takes us to the end of the agenda. Is there any, as we usually do, since we're together and got the public mic, is there any ESA information that anybody wants to send out except for let's see, the Rockers are at home and Carolina Corps is coming Saturday. So that's on the fun part. Anything else?
Oh, but
Yes.
their public hearing Monday.
Yes, yes, Monday will be another public
comment, excuse me, sorry,
comment.
public comment, okay.
Yeah, for our pending proposed budget for discussion and hearing from the public with any further comments or questions they have. So, good call. Anything else, guys? Appreciate everybody being here, and I hope you'll have a good afternoon. This meeting is adjourned.